and what's up, women helping women? Yes, that's what we're in here to do. And today is no exception. I wanted to come in and talk to you guys about a powerful brand. And I truly believe that we are in an era of time where powerful brands are going to be the thing that separates you and the next person um, in any setting, because we're all on social media. We're all trying to grow our businesses, but I think the first thing we get to do is to grow our brand and really like stepping into who we really are. So let's get into it. Today I'm going to talk to you about 6 ways to do this, right? And the first way is probably going to be something that sounds really counterintuitive, but it's so powerful. It's questioning everything. Number one is to question everything. And what I mean by questioning everything is looking at your own mindset and what is it that you believe about yourself? What is it that you believe about the world? And what things do you hold to be true that might not be true, right? So you might actually believe that you need to have all of your ducks in a row before you put yourself out there. I know it's scary to get on video. I know it's scary to put yourself out there on social media because you're afraid of people judging you. You're afraid of messing up. You're afraid of looking stupid. And one of the things that I realize is that there are no stupid ways to show up, but to show up, right? We have to get out there if we want people to know who we are. And if you're not going to do it on social media, which you absolutely don't have to, but you get to do it out in the world. And a lot of us are still afraid to be around a bunch of people because of the pandemic, or we want to be around a bunch of people because we need to get out and we need to have some semblance of real life. But the point here is like question everything that you believe. Hello, Damas. How are you? The point here is to question everything that you believe to be true and see if it's still true for you now, because it might not be. Something that was true for your parents may not be true for you. Something that was true for yourself last year may not be true for you this year. So questioning everything will really help you to begin to get into the second part of the way that you can make a powerful brand, right? So when we're questioning everything, we're really deepening a knowing of ourselves, which is number two. The number two step to getting to having a powerful brand is getting to know yourself really, really well. So it'll go back to the questioning everything, because once you know what you truly believe and what your values are, you get to know yourself a lot better. So for example, one of my values is freedom, right? And if I want to be free, I need to show up in a certain kind of way. And I use this freedom value to filter the things that I'm going to do, to filter the things that I'm going to say, to filter the way that I'm going to show up to the rest of the world. So let's just say your value is, oh, okay, I'll say this. I thought one of my values was appropriateness. And clearly, I realized that it's not really about appropriateness. It was more for me about self acceptance. I thought that if I was appropriate, the self acceptance would come. But what ended up happening is that the self acceptance came, then then the appropriateness came, right? So I'm only appropriate as much as I believe that I'm appropriate. I'm only appropriate as much as I believe in myself and what I'm up to doing. So for you, it's about really checking in with the values, and do you operate from those values, or are you operating from somebody else's value system? And does that feel aligned for you? And if it doesn't, like, let's go and check it out. Let's be inquisitive. Let's be very exploratory when it comes to us and who we are and what we like and how we want to show up, and being really unapologetic about it. I didn't really get this. One of my coaches used to say it all the time, like, be unapologetic about who you are. And it wasn't until I started really looking into what do I really want for my life. If today was my last day, how would I spend it? If I knew that I could create whatever I wanted to create, what would I create? Right? And when I started to examine this, the values that I had been living out of, or the way that I had been living, really wasn't me. And that reflected in my brand, because it never felt right. It didn't feel like home. So if your branding, if you feel like your website, your social media stuff, nothing feels like it's home to you, it feels like you're putting on a front, you might be, right? Because you think you're supposed to show up a certain way. And I'm not really saying that you don't have to make an effort, but I am saying, like, let what is important to you shine through. All right. Number three. This one's a big one, and I too struggle with this one. Stop consuming and start creating. If we're on in this online space, a lot of us are in this group because we're trying to grow our brand, we're trying to grow our business. And if we are looking at what everybody else is doing, we're not really concentrating on who we are and how we can be of contribution to the world. So the way that I do this is, like, there's no social media for me before I start my work day. And then the social media, now again, sometimes I get a little crazy and I'll go down a rabbit hole, but for the most part, social media is a tool. It is not a place for me to go and consume everybody else's content, because when I do that, I get off track for what it is that I'm really here to do. So you have to be really grounded, right? We're going back to number two, like really knowing yourself. You got to be really grounded in who you are and what you're up to, so that when you do see other people's stuff, you are still being you and you're still able to create from that place and not creating from a place that's their stuff. So you might see your mentor taking trips to Paris and then maybe Monaco and then doing all of these things. And you feel like you need to do that in order to be as credible as your coach. But it's just not true, right? Our credibility comes from us, it comes from within. And once we do that, once we come from inward, right? Because all of this other stuff is out. So you consuming is out, but your creativity is coming from within. And that's where you want to focus most of your attention when you are on social media. If you're doing the scroll and you're scrolling for hours trying to find something that resonates with you so you can go and recycle it and use it for your audience, that might help. But what if you just got really quiet and started with your own values and started to think about, what do you want to say to the world, instead of regurgitating something that someone else said, right? So stop consuming as much, right? It might be a practice for you. Stop consuming as much and get to creating what you were here to create. All right, number four. This one's a big one as well. Stop waiting for perfection. Don't wait until everything is perfect before you do it. Putting yourself out there is going to have way more impact than if you're sitting behind your computer waiting for the perfect opportunity, waiting for the perfect post, waiting for the perfect video, waiting for your perfect hair day, waiting for the perfect outfit. Those things are never going to come, right? You're going to have great hair days. You're going to have bad hair days. You're going to have great outfits that you feel amazing in. You're going to have days where you feel so sucky, but you still got to show up, right? So here's what I'm saying. You have to quit waiting for perfection and just do the damn thing already. Do it and get it done. Don't half-ass do it, but do it in a way that is best to your ability at the time that you need to do it. So today I woke up, I was really tired this morning, and I thought, I could go back to sleep. I could not do my video today. But what am I really committed to? I'm really committed to making sure that women understand their inherent value, and that there's a place for them in this world, and that people get to know who they are. And so if I'm going to have that be the thing, then I got to show up too, right? I have to show up in a way that makes other people want to show up. So I really appreciate everyone who did show up today to listen to what I had to say about this, because ultimately our gifts, right? We have to put our gifts out into the world in order for them to be fully developed. So if you want to self-actualize, if you want to become the best version of yourself, you got to step up and you just got to do the damn thing and stop waiting for perfection. All right, so that was number four. Number four ways, the fourth way to have a powerful brand. Now, this next one is huge, and I believe that a lot of us struggle with this because we believe that it needs to look a certain way. We believe that we should probably sound like our mentor, or we should sound like someone else who is successful if we're not as successful as we want to be yet. And this is communicating with clarity and purpose. One of the biggest lessons that I learned in the last, I'll probably say in the last year and a half, was that, well, let me just back up a little bit. I am a trained image consultant. I don't know if you guys know what an image consultant is, but an image consultant is someone who works with someone around their appearance, their behavior, their communication skills, and also digital presence. And typically, it's to help someone be a certain way, right? When I think of image consulting as a whole, as an industry, it's about having someone be appropriate, having someone fit into someone else's box. And what I realized is that for me, it's more about having someone come home to themselves, having someone actually express themselves in a way that's authentic to them. And so when I started to think about that in the way that I communicate, like, yeah, I curse. And one of the things that what I've noticed in this last year is because I've been talking to different people and they're like, "Oh my God, I can't stand the fact that she curses. I can't stand the fact that, this and this and this." But what's true for me is that I'm gonna curse and I'm not going to be apologetic about it. And that's part of my brand. So when people understand that that's the kind of person that I am, they get to choose whether they want to work with me or not. I don't get to choose who I'm going to be in the moment so I can appease someone else. That's what I mean about being unapologetic about who you are, right? Um, I'm from Louisiana. I love the state that I come from. I love our cuisine. It's a part of who I am. So one of my former coworkers used to call me Gumbo, which is hilarious, right? But actually being called gumbo really resonated with me because there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot that goes into the actual dish. And there's a lot of flavors and layers and ways that it could be made. And it's also very spicy. So for me to not be spicy is for me not to be myself, right? So I want you to think about, like, who are you in a sense? And if you had to put it in one word, if you had to describe yourself as a food or as a car or as a type of house, like if you had to describe yourself with one word that people could hear it and they'll know exactly what you mean, what would that word be? And are you being that way? Are you communicating in that way? Are you using the language that kind of person or that kind of car would be? So if you're a luxury vehicle, or if you would say that you're a luxury vehicle, there's certain standards to a luxury vehicle that may not be one for, a Toyota, right? So start to think about how you are, who you are, and communicate in a way that's congruent with who you are. Yes? Yes. All right. And then finally, this is my favorite because I love a great challenge and I love making myself uncomfortable because that's the only way that I grow. And that's challenging myself daily to do the things that I don't want to do. Did I want to get up early so I can get on camera to do this? Probably not. If I had to pick this or staying in bed, I probably would have stayed in bed, right? So every day I challenge myself to do something that's uncomfortable for me that's going to take me closer to the goal. So if I want to have a seven-figure business, I get to do that by showing up on these videos. So those actions, those scary actions align with my end goals. So for you, the question is, are you challenging yourself daily? And are those challenges aligning up with your ultimate goal for your brand and for your business? Yeah. So ask yourself those things every day. Like in my planner, I have a daily challenge. What are you doing today that's going to get you closer to your goals? What are you going to do today that's going to get you closer to the person that you say that you are, that you've always been meant to be, but you've been afraid to show up as her? What are you going to do? So that's my daily challenge for myself. I will take questions from you guys in a second, but what I'm going to do is go over the 6 steps to a powerful brand, and then you can ask me any questions you want. If you want to step into any of this, like I will definitely expound on any of them that you might want me to. So the first one is, I'm gonna take a drink of water first. Water. The first one is to question everything. And you don't have to be nasty about it. And, it doesn't have to be confrontational, but really looking deep within to find out, what do you believe is true for yourself, right? Or asking, is this actually true? So you're going to question everything. The second thing you want to do is get to know yourself really well. I'm doing this on a daily basis. Sometimes I'm really shocked at what I've been repressing because someone that's really close to me doesn't understand it, or it's not something that I should be feeling. I think women as a whole, we do a lot of things that we should do or we think we should do instead of what we truly desire. And I'm really stepping into, what is it that I really desire? And I have to get quiet. I have to stop. I'm very susceptible to other people's chatter, but also other people's plans and ideas. And so what I had to do was get really quiet about, what is it that Mia desires? What does Mia want? And a really good example is, I have a really good friend. We travel a lot together. And she mentioned that she wanted to go on this road trip. And sorry guys, throat is dry. She wanted to go on this road trip. And I was like, oh my God, that sounds amazing. I want to do that too. Well, she wants to do this road trip in a tiny van. And when she said tiny van, I was like, can it be more like a bus or like an RV? Like, can we upgrade the experience a little bit? Like, I'm not interested in doing a 3-month road trip in a tiny van. And she's like, but I want to do the tiny van, right? So I found myself conceding conceding to her idea because, number one, it was her idea and I just kind of jumped on the bandwagon. And then as we talked about it and talked through it, there was always this thing that was stopping us from moving forward with it, right? And just this morning, I got the clarity that I actually don't want to do this. And I actually believe that she wants to do it on her own. And so we've been kind of like having this conversation, this kind of tug of war with the whole thing, because she wants to do it her way and I want to do it my way. And honestly, we both get to do it, and we might have to do it separately, or we can come to the agreement that we're going to do it with a mix of the two, right? So knowing yourself really well, you're able to have these hard conversations. You're able to say to your friend, you know what, I want to do this and I'd love to do this with you, but maybe I'll only do a week. Like, when you go to these states, I'll go with you to these states, and then I'm going to do the rest on my own as you do the rest on your own. So I haven't had that conversation with her yet, so you guys heard it first, but that's the conclusion I came to. I realized that I wasn't being true to my desires while trying to fit into hers. And she was probably doing the same thing with me. So get to know yourself really well. The third one is, stop consuming and start creating. Create from a place that is authentically you. And if it's not you, put it out there anyway. And if you're not excited about it, if it doesn't light you up, then you will understand that it's probably not from you. It's probably from someone else. So get to create, get into creation mode, and figure out how you can stop the consumption cycle. We have been in this big consumption cycle over the last 2 years, because a lot of people have been at home, and a lot of people have been up leveling and growing themselves and doing these things, but we also just consume stuff just for the sake of consuming it. So make sure you're not doing the latter. The fourth thing is to quit waiting for it to be perfect, because it's never going to be perfect. Just get the daggum thing done. Just do it. Don't half-ass do it, but do it from the place that you are today. And the fifth thing is communicate with clarity and purpose, right? Don't just talk for the sake of talking, but also talk in a way that is natural to you. You don't have to be anyone else but who you came here to be. If you want to learn how to do something, or if you want to better yourself or better your skills because you actually want to, do that. But if you're doing it to impress someone, if you're doing it because you think it's what you should be doing, I definitely invite you to challenge your thinking and challenge yourself on what that is, right? What is that for you? And then finally, challenging yourself daily. Challenging yourself daily in a way that aligns with the goals or with the person that you say that you want to be. Now, who has questions? And I also invite you guys to follow me on social media. It's Mia Lamont Disruptor on Instagram. And yeah, so who has questions for me? And I will take them now. And if there are no questions, I'm going to take some water so I can clear my throat. But thank you so much for being here. I absolutely, absolutely appreciate you taking the time out to listen because, like I said, we're all consuming stuff and we want to make sure that what we're consuming actually aligns for us and gives us some value because if it doesn't, then it's not even worth our time. So let me know if there's anything that I can help you with. I'm also one of the experts in the group, so there's a thread where you can ask any questions about personal branding, and I will answer those as soon as I see them. Any questions for me? No? Well, I thank you, ladies, for coming. Yes, don't half-ass do it. Hola, hola, hola. And then hello to all. Thank you so much for being here. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help. Feel free to DM me, reach out any kind of way, and I'm happy to answer any questions. All right, talk soon. Have a good day.